Well, the gloves are off. I just couldn't get myself out of it today. And I worked really hard at it. This is still a cold read. I didn't read it before. Just got it right now. I mean, like, in my lap again. Been thinking about it, but I haven't been able to read it because I've been frightened, to say the least.
This is what I've been talking about for 10 years. And what's happened? We've made fortunes. You can actually make fortunes and destroy their system and have a chance to survive the apocalypse.
Some people believe that Hitler could be induced by certain limited concessions.
Like even those Italian port workers.
I think I have to put on glasses to see this.
Because they don't want to get the injection.
Made dependent on his... Oh, that works really good. Wow. +1 reading glasses. Hitler could be made dependent upon his fulfillment of certain specified conditions, change in methods of procedure, and limit his aims. Germany would then cease to figure as the troublemaker in the world and would fit into a new international equilibrium. The view was based on a number of sound assumptions. It was justified the example of the movement for German unification between 1864 and 1870. Bismarck often expressed the idea. He said once the unified Reich had been constituted, one of his main concerns would be to create general confidence in his pacifistic intentions. After rectifying the Bismarckian phrase, German policy would set itself to the task of becoming a force for peace in Europe. Bismarck's national policy was based exclusively on force and was eminently practical. But its objectives were always limited. At the given moment, it saw the necessity of fixing its own limits and never overstepped them. Sharply in contrast with Bismarck's art of the possible, stands the hazy, impulsive policy of William II. At a critical moment during the latter's reign, Morocco's crisis of 1905, Sir Arthur Nicholson remarked that the German Foreign Office did not itself know what it wanted. He went out to say that the real danger in German policy was not so much its expansionist outlook as its vagueness. That was entirely true. It was impossible to work out a policy of harmonious collaboration with a person who did not know what he wanted. William II based his foreign policy on surprises and sudden impulses. In that fact, much more than Germany's striving for world power, led directly to the World War. This is 1939. Hitler's policy at first differed strikingly from the policy of William II. It also differed from the policy of the Weimar Republic, which was also, though for different reasons, chiefly the Republic's inherent weakness, wavering and uncertain. Hitler's policy was outspoken and showed that it was clearly conscious of its goals. Frankly nationalistic, that's an interesting turn, setting out to revise the Versailles Treaty and rectify an obvious Latin word. It moved along lines noticeably similar to Bismarck's. It began then as the continuation of a policy which, in the previous century, after achieving its aims, resulted in over 40 years of peace for Europe. In the beginning, Hitler's policy was strictly and exclusively national. Its one aim seemed to be to transform the, quote, little Germany that Bismarck had founded into the greater Germany that still lived in the thoughts of all German patriots. This was to be achieved by revision of all the territorial provisions in the peace treaty, which in the long run would have proved unendurable anyway. Germany possessed Germany possessed many friends among her sometime war opponents. These would probably have approved of such a reasonable policy if certain revolutionary features tending to its application, along with its methods, had not chilled goodwill abroad and intensified foreign hesitations. Even so, however, one could still argue that the extravagant features of the new German policy were superficial and would automatically correct themselves in due course. So
when you see things about Sweden or Denmark,
we're just gonna show you the rest of this. Objectively, however, the policy of the Third Reich would be considered constructive only so long as it had a definite and limited scope. In other words, only if National Socialist foreign policy aimed specifically at uniting actual German territories in an enlarged German state could expect that other states would tolerate the gradual reorganization of Europe under German leadership. During the earlier, so this is 20 pages. This is like Psalm 119, like forever long. So I'll just let you read this. As I've said before, and I'll say again, press pause often. Being strictly the private concern of the German people. That's pretty funny. Because they're Virgos. I wonder if that's like a fact. Everyone gets pregnant on Christmas. Wear itself out. It would clean itself up. This is only page 5. I mean, like, come on. could not be reformed. Even though it was a reformist movement, it itself could not be reformed. Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to end on page 7. Minus Prussian. Huh. Sounds familiar to me. Alright, page 7, part 1.